Chapter 1. The first thing to say is that I am not a pervert. Well, no more than anyone else. If you came to my apartment, you would be more struck by the piles of washing up in the sink than my dungeon, not least because the cost of living in the city is such that I'm lucky to have been able to find somewhere with a living room that I could rent alone within my budget. Let's just say a dungeon wasn't really an option. So, to address some of those pesky stereotypes, I am neither a doormat nor a simpleton. I don't yearn to spend my day baking while someone hunts and gathers for me, and I keep the home fires burning. Which is just as well as, apart from a decent Sunday roast, I'm a bit of a crap cook. I also don't look like Maggie Gyllenhaal in Secretary. Alas. I just happen to be, at points when the urge takes me and I have someone I trust to play with, a submissive. Not that you'd know that if you met me. It's just one facet of my personality, one of the plethora of character elements that make me, well, me. Coexisting with my love of strawberries, my compulsion to continue arguing stubbornly even when I know I'm wrong, and my tendency to heap scorn on 99% of television programs and yet become obsessive about the other 1% to a level that frightens even me. I work as a journalist on a regional newspaper. I love my job, and, not that it should really need to be said, being submissive doesn't impact on my work. Frankly, if it did, I'd get lumbered with tea-making and picture stories about elementary school book weeks, which really is a fate worse than death. Also, newsrooms are bantery places. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and you need to give as good as you get. I do. I consider myself a feminist. I'm certainly independent, capable, in control. To some, that might seem incongruous with the choices I make sexually, the things that get me off. For a while, it seemed jarring to me. In fact, sometimes it still does, but I've come to the conclusion that there are more important things to worry about. I'm a grown woman of usually sound mind. If I want to relinquish my personal control to someone I trust so that they can lead us somewhere that proves thrilling and hot for both of us, then, as long as I'm not doing it somewhere where I'm frightening small children or animals, I think that's my right. I take responsibility for my actions and choices. It has taken a while for me to get to this stage, though. I would, if the word hadn't been appropriated by reality television and turned into something that sounds both nausea-inducing and in need of a soft rock video montage, go so far as to say it's been a bit of a journey, which is really how this book came about. This isn't a manifesto or a how-to book, although I like to think if you're into this kind of thing and wanting to explore, you might get some ideas. It's just what happened to me, how I discovered and explored this side of myself, my experiences, my thoughts. Ask another sub their thoughts and what being submissive means to them, and you'll get a whole other different book. Looking back on it now, my submissive tendencies started young, although I wouldn't have called them that then. I just knew there were certain things that made me tingle, that I would find myself thinking about wistfully, without ever really being able to put my finger on why. Of course I was oblivious to all of that as a kid. Mostly I was just going about my business, growing up in a nice middle-class home in the home counties. I hate to bust myths here, but there's no deep-seated trauma in my past, or anything missing in my formative years that has exacerbated my love of filth now. I have no daddy issues. There was no angst in my home life, and my childhood was, happily for me, but probably not that exciting for book-writing purposes, a happy, loving, and simple one. I was, and remain, very lucky indeed with my family. We are all quite different from one another, but the bond of love and a shared sense of the absurd sticks us together through thick and thin, and I feel genuinely blessed to have them all. I grew up in a nice house with my mum, my dad, and my sister. My mum, an accountant before she had me, devoted her life to bringing up my sister and me, and is very much the heart of our family. She spent a lot of time with us, nurturing us into little people, whether that involved helping us with homework or flinging herself